Hey guys, alright, so we're back. So in the last video we basically brought our coffee app Firebase project to a clean state, and that was a pretty long video because we had to basically start a new project and basically just redo everything that we did here structurally, and add it to here, but no without Okta, alright? And it doesn't have Firebase either yet, so we're gonna do this here. So I'm gonna go ahead now and close this coffee app here that we needed because we're not gonna need it anymore. So I can close that. We already have all the stuff that we needed from there. So let's go ahead and start actually implementing Firebase here. And the first thing we're gonna need is to actually bring Firebase into our, start a new Firebase project. All right. So let's see how I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna bring my Firebase here so I can show you. So you're going to need to go to Google, and let me see if I can maybe log out so you can see it from the beginning. So go to Firebase. Okay, you're currently signed out. That's fine. I have a little window over here that says, "Hey, you're signed out." All right, so you're gonna come to here. If you never had Firebase before, this is what it's gonna look like for you, and it's just gonna be like this. Just go to firebase.google.com, and then you can go ahead and sign in, or if you're not signed in, then go ahead and create an account. So if you need to create an account, take your time, go ahead. I think you should have a Google account to create a Firebase account, so there's that. But go ahead and sign in. I'm gonna sign into mine using my Google account. Oh my god. Oh my god, I hope I got this right. How much you want to bet is wrong? Oh no, it's right. Confirm your address and now. Cool. Alright, I guess that's the right one. Alright, I usually have all my passwords already kind of saved on to my thing, so in my what is it? I use a Mac, so obviously I have what I call it, Vault or something like that. Anyway, so we're here, right? As soon as you get in here, you're gonna go to your console, and in your console, you basically, if you never used Firebase before, you're not gonna have anything here. It's gonna be completely empty. So, but for you, because we're gonna be you're gonna be starting a new project, and if you're gonna create an ad project, and you're gonna name your project something. So I'm going to name my project Fire React. Okay, I already have one named React Fire from when I was testing this, but this one's gonna be Fire React for Firebase React. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and click continue, and here we're not going to enable analytics because we're not really gonna use it, and it's kind of a waste of time to have to even introduce that in there. So go ahead and create a project, and it's gonna go through its own little magic and create all the good stuff. Okay, I am not gonna cut this out of the video because I'm too lazy to do that later, so fast forward if you have to. Alright, cool, so it's ready, and now we're gonna continue to our next screen. Alright, so we are in our next screen here, and the next thing we're going to do now is you have three options here that you can set up your project. Just like Okta, it asked you which kind of environment you were going to use Okta in, whether it was going to be backend or it was going to be on a mobile app or something like that, or in the web. So with Firebase, you only have like these options here instead, and you have iOS, Android, or as a web app, and whatever that is. So we're gonna go with the web, and then we have to pick up, we have to give it an app name. I'm just gonna use the exact same one, Fire React. I'm just gonna call it like that, and we don't want any Firebase hosting. We're not doing any of that stuff, and register the app. Alright, great. We are at our config. This is our config files. This is what we're going to need to get started. So as you see here, it's instructing us to install Firebase, which makes sense because you wouldn't know the code wouldn't know what the hell you're using if you don't install the initial package that it contains all of the instructions that you're going to be calling for. So let's start with that. npm I Firebase, and I stands for install. npm I Firebase is going to go ahead and do that, and while it's doing that, we're going to grab this entire thing here, and we're going to copy it, or click that to copy it, and we're going to go to our Firebase JS. Okay, that's done. That's great. Let's just open this up a little more. There we go. And we're going to go to our Firebase file in here, and then in our Firebase file, we're going to basically just paste that stuff in there, and we're gonna get rid of some of these comments here that we don't need, and comment that, comment this, and comment this. All right, so let's talk about this a little bit. So what's going on here is the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna import an initializing function that is in the Firebase app itself. Okay, this initializes all that is Firebase that you're going to be using eventually as an app inside of your app. And then you have the constant, the Firebase configuration, which has an API key, domain, all that stuff. A lot like Okta had client ID and client and Okta domain and things like that. This is no different. It basically uses the same things, to identify which project you're going to be working on, so that your code here knows out of all of the Firebase authorization applications in the world that has been created inside of Firebase, which one is yours. And then the last thing that you're going to need that is going to do here is going to create that initialize, going to call that initialize app, and pass all these configurations inside that initialized app, and then attach it to an app constant that you're going to be using to be your actual application wrap of everything. All right, now there's a few more things that we have to do here. We have to bring in our get auth, and I'll explain what that is in a second here, but all right, so let me just write it so I don't get confused. And get auth is coming from this is coming from Firebase /auth. All right, so what is that? So this is, we're using Firebase 9, and Firebase 8 and older, there used to be a different way to access the authorization functions, okay? And that was calling the Firebase auth itself as a file and importing it, and then basically just calling the auth namespace from inside it. But Firebase 9 doesn't use namespaces, it uses modules. So this is a little bit different now. What they did is basically they wrapped all of that logic, all of that information, and all of that code inside modules, inside components, basically, that you can then import into your application. So it's a little bit more about deploying components that you can call and use, and it has all of the logic inside it, as opposed to just calling a namespace, which is basically calling a function. So in this one you get a component, well, it has a lot more stuff in it. So now that you have it imported, then we have to do something with it. So I'm gonna come down here, and we're going to also export it, because we're going to need it in other places, and export a const, and we're gonna call this const auth, and we're going to then give this the power of get auth, but we're going to initialize or inject the app in here. So now we're using that get auth function or module, and we're going to inject basically all of this stuff in here, because remember, all of this stuff in here is being passed from here into the initialize app, which is stored in here, and now it lives here now. So if you follow the route, follow how the information is traveling, it's in here now, and now from here it's going to be injected in here, which gives it get auth, uses it, and now it lives inside of auth. Now you can use auth in other places, and it will contain everything else that was chained. So the dot chaining changed a little bit. And then the last thing that we're going to need is we're going to need to export. And this is going to be an export default. We're going to need to export the app itself. Okay? All right, cool. So, so I think this is all we're going to need from the initializing part. And let's just go ahead and leave it right here, and we'll make the next video. We already did the index, we already did the app JS, so I think we're just going to start right up with using this authorization in homepage, maybe. Okay, set up the homepage and things like that. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next one.